Every small group is at a different stage, but one question that I hear from a lot of leaders is, how do I take my group deeper? That's a really loaded question because you have to define exactly what you mean by deeper. But we're going to hear from two pastors about this. The first is John Burke, who leads his congregation at Gateway Community Church in Austin, Texas. Their mission is to help unreached people become a unified community of Christ followers.
You know, there's this passage in 1 Corinthians 3 where Paul says, I planted the seed, Apollos watered it, but God caused the growth. And this was so freeing to me as a leader when I understood this, that I'm not responsible to fix or change these people. I can't honestly even fix or change myself, not into what God intended, without God. So really, my job as a small group leader, or your job as a small group leader, is to create the environment, the soil, in which God can cause the growth. So what we focus on, we tell our small group leaders, is focus on helping people stay connected to God's Spirit moment by moment. You know, really abiding in Christ or walking in the Spirit is the key. That's how God grows us and changes us. But we need an environment in the group that helps us do that. We need an environment of authenticity. So we've said in our groups, you know, no perfect people allowed here. You know, we're not going to play that game that you don't have any sins or any struggles or any problems. Instead, we're going to be honest.
What I've found is that, you know, the constant conversation about, you know, I need deeper teaching if I'm going to stick at this church. And what we say is, no, you need deeper application. And so the big idea for us really is about taking one core theme and saying, are you really, really good at love? Like, do you really get what it means to love somebody? Because let's talk about what that means. Let's talk about your story. Let's talk about what it means for you to love your spouse. Let's talk about that for a second, or loving your kids, or loving your neighbor, or loving your coworker. Let's really unpack what that means for you. And I guarantee you there's places for us to grow. And so it's not necessarily about trying to have like the right depth of teaching for everybody in their own spiritual walk, but instead it's about talking about what it means to have the right depth of application. And it's going to vary for each person. That's what makes it individualized, that you ask the hard question about where do I need to grow when it comes to this particular area, because I know I have room for growth. There's always opportunity for that. And whether it be the mission statement of your church, for instance, ours is to help people find their way back to God. And, you know, I had a great conversation with our small group about that. And, you know, everybody in the group would say they're Christ followers. But when I asked the question, who are they helping find their way back to God? One person in the group said they were doing it. That's a real difficult place to be at. And great tension gets created because we're talking about application. Not necessarily deeper teaching, but deeper application. Let's take what we already know, the Great Commission. Let's take what we've already heard 100 times and say, oh, it's shallow. I've already heard that talk. And ask the question, but are you really doing it?
The way we define community then is in several ways. We tell people to get in a small group community, which is a more typical, you know, 8 to 12 to 15 people. But then we also tell people to get running partners, spiritual running partners. This would be 3 to 4 people who are really getting completely honest with each other. And even small groups, we encourage them to pair up in running partner relationships, because you might not open up about your deepest, darkest secret in front of all 12 just because of maybe one person you're having a hard time trusting. But if you can find those, you know, 3 or 4, you can really do that. We also say, you know, get connected onto a serving team, but we're having our serving team leaders help people connect into spiritual running partner relationships of those 3 or 4 that they serve with, but then they're meeting as well to really go deeper spiritually.
I love the heart behind leaders who want their groups to go deeper, and I really appreciated Eric and John's insights on those issues. If you want to go deeper, you have to have people around you who are willing to invest deeply in your life. Together, you'll find ways to put your faith into action, to learn by doing. I know a small group leader in his group who adopted an immigrant family from Iraq. This small group has learned more from that experience than from every Bible study that they've ever done combined. Don't forget, all of these videos and answers to more questions are posted for free at smallgroupexchange.com. All the videos are available to email to other group leaders and to embed into your own websites. Thanks.